What's up, everybody? I'm B-True, and today I have some more news about changes coming in the Reaper of Souls expansion to Diablo 3. Now, first off, Blizzard has said that they're going to change the character cap to 12 characters. This way you don't have to delete any characters to make room for the new Crusader. Now next, there's some new caps for your skills. So let me just bring this up here. Now, first off, you can see critical hit chance. You're going to have a maximum of 40% for critical hit chance from your items. Now that is a big change, and it's going to definitely impact the way that DPS and character builds work in the upcoming expansion. Next, you can see the block chance. You can have a maximum of 75% block chance. Now that seems like a lot, but one of the core assets of the Crusader seems to be his ability to block. And a lot of the new legendary affixes and things that are coming seem to center around block a lot. So I mean, it's a very high percentage, 75%. That's 3/4 of the attacks coming to you are going to get blocked. But still, there is a cap, so you can't just block 100% of the attacks. Critical hit damage, 250%. You can see movement speed, 20. It's always been 25%. Gold find, 300. Magic find, 300. And attack speed, 40%. So obviously, Diablo is trying to, or Blizzard is trying to reduce the amount of items and need for certain aspects. So once you hit the 40% critical hit chance, you don't need critical hit chance from other items, allowing you to look for other types of attributes and affixes for your items, so thus making not everything need to have a trifecta roll in order to be good. Now you can use certain items to get different kinds of your stats and everything, and this mixed with the Paragon system, it'll make gearing your character a lot easier, and you'll be able to pick certain stats that you like and not just have to go with the certain ones that you need in order to do damage. Now the big thing that I want to cover is some of the new legendary affixes that have been data mined from the Reaper of Souls expansion that Blizzard wants to implement. Now these affixes are new, and they're designed to change the way that everyone plays so that no two characters play exactly the same. Now there are a lot of different affixes here, and I'll post a link, or you can just pause the video and look at them for yourself. But I want to highlight a few that I think are particularly awesome and have the chance to really change the way two characters play entirely different. Now, even though all these legendary affixes say that it's for a ring, they're still in testing, and so they can change these affixes, and they're going to put them on different items once they all work out. So, first off, you can see it's a pretty large list. Now, the first one I want to go over here, the first one that I have highlighted off to the left, your melee attacks hit enemies up to 40 yards in front of you for 100% of your weapon damage. So now, let's say you're a barbarian and you're using Frenzy. Your Frenzy hits hit enemies up to 40 yards in front of you. So this is a very good, it turns your Frenzy attack into an AoE skill, and it damages all the enemies around you in front. Now, so what do you say, like Cleave? Okay, so Cleave, it hits people in a broad arc in front of you. Now you hit all the monsters behind them as well. So this is definitely going to be something that would change the way a barbarian plays if he gets this affix on one of his legendary drops. Now next, the second one. While below 30% life, all attacks are guaranteed critical hits. Now that is amazing. And you can have 5% critical hit chance, but if you have this affix on one of your legendary items, while you're below 30% life, all of your attacks are guaranteed to crit. That is huge. That is amazing amounts of damage that you can do if you can somehow manage a way to keep yourself under 30% life. Now, I mean, obviously that's a little bit risky, but I'm sure with these new affixes and the new skills and everything that's going to come, there's probably going to be builds that you can focus on keeping yourself at a low level of life to maximize these critical hits and basically have 100% critical hit chance. So let's see here. Next we go down. Third one here. Your Thorns damage now hit all enemies in a 15-yard radius. Thorns is something that Blizzard is trying to make viable, something that they want to make that so it actually matters now. Because in the past, Thorns really hasn't mattered. It doesn't really affect anybody. No one's really looking to get Thorns as a build modifier. So now if you get this, it damages enemies in a 15-yard radius. So the more damage that you're taking, the more you're dishing out as sort of like an aura around you that has the possibility, depending on how you want to play your character, to change how you're playing and the gear that you want in. So this is the way that these just these alone, these 3 affixes could make 2 barbarians entirely different. You can go one with an AoE barbarian, or you can go one who's more of a defensive stack, who just has this aura of damage around him as he takes damage. Let's say he stays below 30% life, and all of his attacks are critting too. So it's a lot of damage around you that you can build with this. So next, now Kool-Aid is one of the new potions. We don't know very much about it at all. But if you have this, drinking Kool-Aid allows you to burst through walls summoned by Waller elites. So now when the walls come up and you get blocked in, now you drink this potion and you can burst right through it. Definitely something that people who are defensive and like hardcore characters definitely want to look at getting. Now next, Frost Hydra now periodically casts Frost Nova. Now the Hydra is a very important part of most wizard builds. So now you get this, and instead of having your arcane or your poison Hydra, whichever one people has the most damage right now, now the Frost Hydra becomes important because it has a Frost Nova that it casts around it. So there's more ways that you can just change up how people are playing, and just even with individual skills, what they're doing and who chooses what. Meteor now homes in on enemies. Now it's no longer just you set it on the ground. Now you can set it on an enemy and it will hit that enemy no matter where they walk around. So if you're fighting a teleporter elite and they're jumping all around, and now you can set it on them and it will hit them no matter where they go. Another big thing that's going to make Meteor pretty important. Let's see here. While casting Town Portal, you gain an immunity bubble. Now I'm not entirely sure what this means, but there's a possibility that as soon as you start casting Town Portal, you can't be hit anymore. That would make huge strides for hardcore characters, because as soon as you look like you're in over your head or in a bad situation, you just Town Portal real quick, you can get out. Might be a little bit cheap. Still not entirely sure how that works, but these are just examples of things that are really going to change the way this game's played. So next, this one is particularly important here. Bolas now explode instantly. So one of the drawbacks to the Demon Hunter Bola skill is the fact that it wraps around and it takes a little while to do damage. It takes a while to explode. Now it's going to explode immediately. So it's going to wrap around, do AoE damage, explode immediately as soon as it hits. So it's like Hungering Arrow, except it's going to explode as soon as it hits the enemy. That is something that is definitely going to change the way some Demon Hunters play their character. Let me bring up. Alright. So now we have the rest of the list here. Next one on the list that I have highlighted, you can have 2 additional sentries. Now, I'm sure there's ways that people can think that are really going to affect, your Demon Hunter with this. So now you have 2 additional sentries, changes the way that you want to build your Demon Hunter. Another important stat here. Hungering Arrow has 20% additional chance to pierce. And again, something that's going to change, because now Hungering Arrow, let's say you take the one skill rune, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it does an extra like 70% damage if it pierces an enemy. Now you have another 20% chance to pierce to get that extra 70%. So that's really going to add DPS to the Hungering Arrow skill. Alright, heal to full life and resources when you fall below 20% life. Obviously there's going to have to be some kind of a cooldown associated with that, because otherwise it would make you immortal. But another thing for like a hardcore character who's worried about dying, put that on. Now you have like basically a free full life. So very important right here. Blocking an attack freezes the attacker. Now blocking is going to be something that's very ingrained into the Crusader. Everything with the Crusader works around heavy armor, big shields, big block chances. So this now, whenever you block an attack, and like I said earlier with the 75% block chance, when you block an attack, now you're freezing the attacker. So it's almost like a stun associated with your block. So you block, it reduces the damage done to you, and you're freezing the targets around you. Very big for a Crusader who's going to get into the middle of team fights. Alright, while moving, your resource generation and damage is increased by 25%, and while stationary, your resource regeneration and damage is reduced by 25%. This is going to be big for people who like to kite, like the wizards, demon hunters especially. This is a pretty big change that could change the way, whether you're stationary or you're constantly on the move. The world map is always revealed. That is huge for people who want to speed clear who want to know where certain items are, certain, let's say for the different, we're not exactly sure what the new systems are going to be, but for the time trials and stuff they have, this is going to make you a lot faster because you're going to know where everything is at all times. Shrines will spawn an enemy champion. So now every time you see a shrine, you got a guaranteed champion coming with it, which is another chance for drops, another chance for the smart drop, or to get a legendary, so you can get some more of these affixes just like this. We got 3 more here. Blocks have a chance of summoning a hellhound. Now, you don't know what a hellhound is, we don't know how much damage it'll do, what its effects are, but once again, something that affects your blocks. So you block, you might freeze people, now you can block and you get a hellhound summon. It's going to make blocking a very important stat for the Crusader, or let's say a barbarian if you want to turn into a blocking barbarian. Alright, this one I thought was particularly interesting, and one that I think has the biggest possibility to be awesome, right? So you gain a death aura that deals 1000% of your life per second to enemies within 20 yards of you, but your life per second no longer heals you. So a lot of the new stats and passives and things that they're changing about this game are adding life per second. They want to make life per second more of a sustaining factor, and they're going to try and phase out things like lifesteal, right? So life per second is now very important. So let's say you have enough life per hit, enough defense, and all resist and all that. Now you turn your life per second into a death aura. Okay, 1000% of life per second. So if you have 1 life per second, you're doing 1000 damage per second to enemies within 20 yards of you. So you can see how that scales immensely. I mean, absolutely off the chart scaling, and you can have this aura around you that is just constantly going to drain enemies' health fast, very, very fast. So that's something that I'm particularly looking forward to using. And then last here, blocked attacks heal you and your allies for the amount blocked. Once again, another thing about blocking, something's going to make Crusader an awesome class to play. If you can get affixes like this, you block, you're healed, and it heals all your teammates around you to make the Crusader very good with teams. And so all these things that you can see, I mean, they are very, very important. They're going to change builds, everything about the way that you view gear, your build is very, very important. And these aren't even everything. I mean, the game is nowhere even near being talked about, basically, right now. So think about how many more legendary affixes they can come up with and how they're going to change these around to things that are going to make people just absolutely fall in love with their gear. So I'm very, very excited about these changes. I'm excited about what's going to come with this Reaper of Souls expansion. I hope you guys are too. Please like and favorite the video if you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day, everybody.